Nobody saw this coming. After last week, which saw players diving into the Redacted Regiment Warbond, Suppressor changes, and of course the Commando stealth missions, we certainly weren't expecting Arrowhead to drop something else. But that's exactly what they did. Here's our next Warbond, Siege Breakers, with some heavy ordnance set to drop in 1 week's time, and I've got all the details for you as I break it all down and of course have some thoughts along the way. And the ending of this reveal is something we have to talk about. Yeah, so if you haven't yet hit subscribe, you know what to do, but first, here's a word from today's video sponsor. It's that time of year again when the weather gets nasty and we gamers are forced inside to ride out the storm, and this game gives us the attention-grabbing jolt we need to keep us sharp and in the fight. Raid Shadow Legends is back with a new event including swag you can only get by using my link, so stick around to find out how to grab Assassin's Creed champions. That's right, during this event you can unlock legendary champions like Ezio, Edward Kenway, Bayek, Bassam, and Cassandra, and Ezio alone is an absolute monster for progression. This crossover and the free Ezio are only available for a limited time, so timing really matters here. Download the game via my custom link or QR code, as this offer is not available in app stores, as Raid's team has given me these custom packages. Now, admittedly, Raid can be daunting to new players. 1,000 champions to choose from, the campaign, so many bosses, but here's your first 30 days crash course. Now, I personally recommend Kale as your first champion, as he has poison in his kit, and that's pretty strong. From there, farm for War Maiden over on Stage 9, the Dreadlands, and then wait for the Day 30 reward of High Katoon, and invest into all of these. If you stick to this plan, you'll crush it out of the gate, and that formula has served me very well. So here comes the cool stuff that is really going to boost your combat power, specifically for new players. Just click my link in the video description or scan my QR code to instantly unlock Epic Fane, who rivals many legendary champions. I often see questions from viewers about how they can support the channel, and here, by clicking my link and downloading this game, is how you can directly help out. So yeah, click my exclusive link, scan the QR code, grab that exclusive swag, and thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Okay, let's get into it. Last week, it was Redacted Regiment, the Suppressor patch, and the Stealthy Commando Missions. Today, it's Helldivers' next premium warbond, Siege Breakers. And I've got the full breakdown for you, including some thoughts and observations, so stay tuned for those. Now, Siege Breakers is set to release into the game on February 3rd, so that's a week from today. And like all premium warbonds in Helldivers 2, this one will set you back 1,000 super credits to unlock, plus all the medals necessary to unlock the items inside the warbond, and on top of that, you'll want to stockpile even more super creds because of course there'll be a superstore tacked on as well. Alright, let's get right into the breakdown, and Siege Breakers is going to have only one primary weapon and no sidearms, by the way, along with 3 stratagems. And the way this first and only weapon is described is a new and improved version of a beloved Helldivers weapon. That beloved weapon from Helldivers 1 was the LAZ-13 Trident, which was known for its large firing cone, infinite ammo, as long as you didn't overheat it, and overall damage per shot. Since Helldivers 2 launched, we've seen concepts pop up like this one proposing that the LAZ-17 Trident be created and then added into the game, and now with Siege Breakers, Arrowhead has taken that original Trident concept and spiced it up just a bit to give us the LAZ-16 Trident. Based on the footage we see here, this new LAZ variant looks to be a mob-clearing weapon, much like the original Trident from Helldivers 1, with that large cone of 3 lasers firing at a time. Now, one thing I wanted to point out that instantly jumped out to me was the laser pointer that you can see here on the bottom of the Trident, which is completely different from the weapon customization options we currently have in the game for the LAZ-16 Sickle, as it is currently restricted to just optics and skins. Now, if we do get a larger assortment of customization options, the LAZ-16 Trident might follow more in line with what we have with the Scythe, which not only gives us the standard optics, but also underbarrel attachments and, of course, various heat sinks as well. The current LAS 16 sickle we have in game does just 60 ballistic damage and 6 durable damage, but it fires at 750 RPM. So hopefully the LAS 16 Trident, with what looks like a slower fire rate, will do more base damage, although the ballistic damage on laser weapons is of course woefully low across the board, and I'm going to assume here it's going to carry over to this new weapon. Starting off next with the stratagems, and there's the EAT 411 Leveler, which I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the 411 is supposed to stand for hell. So this weapon's going to make the enemies eat hell. Just my theory on this thing, and make sure to drop a comment on this video if you think the 411 stands for something else. Now, the Leveler is said to fire 1 high-yield missile, and overall, it looks like they've taken a standard EAT launcher tube and they've paired it with a seriously oversized ultimatum round for even more destructive force, question mark? If it is launched from a proper launching tube and not a sidearm like the ultimatum, it should be able to travel further distances, but looks to have the same arced parabolic path of travel, seriously affected by gravity. So this isn't something you'll be sniping bot towers with from across the map. However, I'm sure you all have the same question as me. What is the demo force, and does it have enough to destroy jammers or detector towers? We are also going to be getting a full-on melee stratagem outside of the it's just a flag, one true flag, but the CQC-20 Breaching Hammer seems to have more versatility than any other melee weapon we've seen. The post on this weapon says that you can do straight smashing with it, or it can have an explosive charge attached to its head to drive the point home. So we're going to be able to go natural melee and just swing the hammer for melee damage, or, and you can see it here in the trailer, the diver equips an explosive charge over the head of the hammer and then strikes with that, inflicting enough damage to the back heatsinks of a Hulk to set it ablaze and blow it up in one hit. Unique for sure, and it's going to be interesting to see if the explosive strikes with the Breaching Hammer actually do damage against us as well if we're caught in the explosive AoE. We've got one more stratagem to review, and back in Python Commandos, we got the backpack-fed M1000 Maxi Gun, and the trend continues here now in the Siege Breakers Warbond, as we're going to be getting the GL28 belt-fed grenade launcher. This thing overall looks pretty sick, as the diver spams grenades into bot mobs, and you see troopers and devastators just getting ripped apart and ragdolled. If the GL28 follows in lockstep with the GL21, the grenade launcher we currently have in the game, players should expect AP3 or medium armor pen rounds with 400 explosive damage per shot. Now, personally, I love backpack rovers, and I wasn't all that impressed with the Maxi Gun, but maybe this version of the grenade launcher can make me put down my guard dogs and try something else for once. Let's next turn this conversation to Halo, and you're probably sitting out there and asking why, but Helldivers has long since embraced that IP. I mean, we currently have armor in the game inspired by Master Chief, and of course, we have the Halo ODST Warbond, and now we are getting our very own bubble shield. The GSH-39 shield gives a Helldiver the ability to toss this out onto the ground and get some much needed cover. Overall, it looks like it can hold a couple of divers inside, and the way the player deploys it in the game, it looks like it may be equipped in our loadouts in place of a grenade. Now, I could be completely wrong here on that last assumption, but since there is no strat beam and no hell pod coming down from the planet, this could be an interesting curveball divers could use when all hell is breaking loose and you need a few seconds to catch your breath. But what about armor sets? They can't forget about armor, can they, Buzz? And of course the answer is no. There are two sets here in the Siege Breakers Warbond, including the SA7 Headfirst armor and the SA8 Ram heavy armor that features the new Supplementary Adrenaline armor passive that is said to allow the wearer to regain stamina whenever they take damage, and as the description reads, turning them into the tireless battering ram at the enemy's wall. Now, both of these sets look beefy, especially that Ram armor, and the passive is something we're going to need to try out in game, but it essentially sounds like, again, we are trading health for stam, coming whenever we take damage. Now, as we all know, stamina is the lifeblood of a Helldiver, because when you're in combat and you're being chased by a million enemies and you lose all your stam, you quickly become lunch, unless you pop a stem and sprint away, assuming that you still have a stem. Taking damage to regain stam. I'm not sold on this one, but again, we'll see it in action next week, and I'll of course have a full review video coming when the Siege Breakers Warbond releases. And finally, there's also the usual assortment of vehicle skins for your FRV, shuttle, mechs, and hellpod, 2 new banners, 2 capes, the display of brawn emote where you beat on your chest, and finally, the Bunker Buster player title to round it all up. But here's where this trailer got really interesting, as it looks like Arrowhead has dropped in a teaser for something new. Here, check this out. I'd love to hear your theory as to what this is that we can't see off camera by dropping me a comment right now. And I'm sure the tinfoil hats are going to come out for this one, but the way that Helldiver was being drug along the ground a few feet at a time, along with that jumbled electronic vocal, I'm personally leaning towards Hounds, which of course were in Helldivers 1 and were a part of the Cyborg Faction. Yeah, next week is already shaping up to be another wild week in Helldivers, and here's where you get to sound off with your feelings about the Warbond and, of course, whatever in the hell we just witnessed there at the end of that trailer. If you want to help support the channel, remember to use my link in the video description and pinned comment, or just scan the QR code to download Raid Shadow Legends, where you can get your hands right now on Ezio and more. Please hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my future upload alerts, and a massive thanks goes out to all of my hardcore channel members and their awesome support. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.